We're living in a time where their nuclear family is crumbling in front of our eyes. I don't know if you guys know this, but across the United States right now, single parents raising their family is the majority. And you have to understand the consequences of that. Because if you have one parent missing, the consequences upon the children are potentially catastrophic. Now, may Allah reward all the single mothers and single fathers who got to do what they got to do. You know, they say statistics don't apply at the individual level, but still, the risk exists. And single parents raising their family is the majority in this country. And this is something you and I need to come to grips with, because the divorce rate in this country is 54%. And children suffer through that kind of a grueling process. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the reasons why this is happening, that we're seeing the demise of the family structure, is because our world right now is under the grip of what is known as secular liberalism. And secular liberalism, I don't want to get too philosophical, you can boil it down to one idea, that is their ilah. This is one idea they worship. And that ilah is essentially personal autonomy, individual liberty. Everything else has to be sacrificed at the altar of individual liberty, where you and I are asked to maximize our liberty, our choice, our freedom, our independence. And that's why you'll notice this, by the way. The new shows and the new movies that are coming out, you'll see majority of the time the hero, the successful character, whether he's a detective or a lawyer, most of them live alone. Their relationship, they'll always have an ex on the scene. And they are living alone, and they're celebrating that independence. Who needs family? Family is a burden. In fact, on this worldview where you're asked to maximize your autonomy, family is seen as an oppressive unit. You gotta fight the patriarchy, they will tell you. So who needs to be burdened by family and child rearing and taking care of children? Maximize your freedom. And you'll see this in these shows, that the vibe that they communicate, consciously or unconsciously, deliberately or not, is a vibe of like, need no man, red pill, MGTOW. This is the subliminal programming that's happening, my dear brothers and sisters. And I don't know if you came across the World Economic Forum. They had a policy paper where they were sharing where they want humanity to be in 20, 30 years. The utopia that they want to bring about. I call it the dystopia. And you know the plan they lay out, right? That in about 20, 30 years, all human beings are going to live in a little pod all by ourselves. Maximum freedom, no burdens, no shackles. You'll be in your little pod, plugged to some pleasure machine. And if you get a little hungry, you can always Uber eat. And you'll eat some bug-based meat, because you know the real meat is bad for the environment or for the animals. There goes your Eid al-Adha, you know. And if you get a little bored, there's always Netflix. And if you are missing a little bit of human connection, you can just always swipe right for a quick one-night stand. And if you're not having a lot of luck in the dating market, well, guess what? There's always online you can go to satisfy every single one of your dark fantasies. And if you can't even manage that, we'll get you a robot. This is the insanity that's being propelled forward. It's in the backdrop of this insanity do you appreciate the contrast of Islam, where our deen, our Sharia, one of the 5 objectives of Sharia, maqasidu Sharia, one of them is the preservation of family. The nuclear family has to be preserved. And subhanAllah, we know this now empirically and psychologically. People who grow up with an intact nuclear family, they live much longer. Their mental health is much better. And their physical health is much better. People who are enmeshed in these social connections, their happiness levels are almost incomparable to those who are living these isolated lives. My dear brothers and sisters, Islam does not want you growing up alone and isolated, where the only thing that came out of your life when you hit your 50s is your career. And now you come home to an empty apartment and you live alone by yourself, and you're growing old along with your 3 cats. That's all that came out. Our deen, our Prophet ﷺ, when he first moved to Medina, what did he say? Abdullah ibn Salam, one of the rabbis who accepted Islam, he says, I saw the Prophet ﷺ, and when I looked at him, I could tell that's not the face of a liar. ﷺ. And he says, one of the first things I heard the Prophet ﷺ say, and here the Prophet is almost laying out the social priorities of Medina, the social values of Medina. First thing, ayyuhan nas afshu salam. O people, spread the greetings of peace. Meaning what? Make Medina a welcoming space. Make Medina a place where everybody has a sense of belonging. Make Medina a home for everyone who doesn't have a home. And then the Prophet ﷺ tells you, so you can take your kindness to a whole new level, and you can move beyond lip service and a few kind words. The Prophet ﷺ says, وَأَطْعِمُوا الطَّعَامِ, invite them over for a meal. Because when you break bread together, your connection goes to a whole new level. And then while you're taking care of the community, you're out and about being kind and polite, don't forget about your family. وَصِلُوا الْأَرْحَامِ is the third command. Because we all know it happens that there are people who are icons of courtesy on the outside, symbols of tyranny on the inside. Some of our scholars, they say there are people who are on the pulpit, they're like Siddiq, but in their home, they're like Zindiq. Astaghfirullah. And this type of hypocrisy is something that Islam asks us to watch for. Now, as you're taking care of the rights of the people, which is your family and other people in the community, don't forget about God. وَصَلُّوا بِاللَّيْلِ وَالنَّاسُ نِيَامٌ. Make sure you're praying in the night, even when people are asleep. You do all that, you take care of God, the rights of God and the rights of the people, what's going to happen? تَدْخُلُوا الْجَنَّةَ بِالسَّلَامِ. You'll enter paradise with peace. And what a beautiful message. It starts with peace, and it culminates in peace. And it's from the source, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as-salam, the source of all peace. And it culminates once again in a place known as Darus Salam, the abode of peace. SubhanAllah, this is the message of Islam, to bring about ultimate world peace. And my dear brothers and sisters, our Prophet ﷺ understood the battle starts, the struggle starts at the family unit. And you and I need to make sure that we are the glue that keeps the family together. The term for that is Silatul Rahim, being a wasil, being a connector, someone who keeps it together. Our Prophet ﷺ motivated us so much. In a hadith, the Prophet ﷺ says that if you, man sarrahu, an yubsata lahu rizquh. Hadith comes in Bukhari and Muslim. Whoever wants to be rich, if I can put it crudely, Prophet was like, you want to be rich? You want more financial resources? And you want to live longer? The Prophet ﷺ says, then فَلْيَصِلْ بِرَحْمِ or بِرَحِمِ. The Prophet ﷺ says the secret is take care of your family. Don't turn your back on your family. Stay together. Reach out. Even if they ghost you, even if they've cut you off, even if they don't invite you, keep the family together. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.